Three, two, one. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Thomas Grønnemark, Champions League and English Premier League winner for and Liverpool FC throwing coach. So it's such a great honor to have you come onto the show today. How are you keeping?
I'm really fine, Wayne. I'm just enjoying life. Of course, in these Corona times, it's a little bit harder to travel and everything. But I'm still trying to travel the world to help a lot of clubs with my knowledge around throwing. So I'm having a good time. Yeah.
This is perfectly splendid, and we are just glad to hear that you're well, and of course, still continuing, your great job of coaching Liverpool when it comes to, doing good throw-ins, right? So I'm just thrilled, and honored, and really excited to have a Champions League winner, Premier League winner, champion, and of course, a Guinness Book of Records holder, for longest throw-in on my podcast. So not forgetting, as a lifelong Liverpool fan, you're part of the coaching team that brought us our first title in 30 years. So I have to say, besides CMOs and marketers who tune into our show, and of course, we also have brand owners, team owners, content publishers, heads of football media and sports sponsors who tune in as well. And to check out who are the prime movers and shakers around the world, from either digital marketing, branding, data analysts, sports sponsorship agencies, etc., etc. So it's not an overstatement to say that you have changed many football owners and coaches' opinion about throw-ins, on how it could influence and impact on a game. So your appearance on my podcast is a really big deal, because I'm inundated with a lot of DMs and text messages from sports broadcasters around the world who asked me to put in a good word for them so that you could come on to their shows next time.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really open-minded to help people all around the world, also doing shows like this. So I think I've been doing, I don't know, 200, 300 interviews, podcasts, articles the last year or so. I just want to bring out my knowledge out to not only football clubs, but also companies around the world, because, I've been putting attention to the throw-ins into the football world. And the football world has been a 140-year old sport who hasn't really gone deep into the throw-ins, but that's been my passion the whole life. So my biggest goal is to not only change football with the throw-ins, but also make companies all around the world in all areas be even more innovative and change their part of the world. So I'm just really happy to be here, and I'm really happy to tell about like how I became a throwing coach, what am I working with in Liverpool and all my other clubs, so and how can you be more innovative. So just bringing all the questions, and I'm ready to answer.
That's fantastic. And I have so many burning questions. And we also have questions submitted from our podcast community groups, especially on WhatsApp groups as well, and Facebook groups. They have been trying to get my attention as well, to maybe ask you some of the questions that they always wanted to have a chance to meet you in person, to learn more about the throw-in. So maybe we'll start off with your throw-in philosophy, right? And I know that many people love you as much as I do. In fact, the audiences, we love you for what you do. We love innovators, especially those who are trendsetters, who recreate how an industry behaves, right? Or develop the beautiful game, which is football. So 3 of your teams that you coach on throw-ins are in Group D of this season's Champions League. That's an incredible achievement, right? Besides Liverpool, there's Ajax and FC Midtjylland. So you are responsible for improving their throw-in stats. So how exciting is that for you and your family? And how is Jurgen Klopp taking in this piece of news?
Yeah, first of all, I'll say it's fantastic. I saw the Champions League draw a couple of weeks ago. And of course, first Liverpool were on top. We knew that because they were in the drawn first. But then there was Ajax, and then a little bit later at the 4th team, it was FC Midtjylland. So it's really, really exciting. It's also important for me to say, until now, this season, I'm only coaching Liverpool. I coached Ajax last season, and the last 10 seasons I coached FC Midtjylland. So I'm not helping Ajax and Midtjylland right now. So I'm primarily cheering for Liverpool FC in this Champions League Group D. But of course, I'm totally satisfied. I'm really proud and humble about have been coaching 3 clubs from the same Champions League group. So it will be a crazy group, and all 12 games in this group, I'll either coach 1 or 2 teams in every match. So, we're going to look at a lot of great throw-ins in the Champions League Group D.
That's brilliant. And of course, we need to ask you, I know it's going to be a really hard question to answer. With 3 teams in the same group, which 2 are going to get out of this group in the Champions League this season? And I know this is a really difficult question. It's asking you which 2 of your 3 children are your favorites, right?
Yeah, it's pretty easy for me to say because Liverpool is my favorite because I'm only coaching Liverpool right now. But I've been coaching Ajax a full season last season and coached Midtjylland the last 10 years. So I'm cheering on Liverpool. And then who's going on? I think Liverpool are the favorite to take one of the 2 spots. And then it's really hard because Atalanta is also a really good team. They're really playing a fantastic attacking football. There's not many of their matches who are ending 0-0 or 1-0. It's often like 5-2 or 4-3 or 6-1. So I expect a dynamite Group D with a lot of goals, a lot of attacking football. And then again, you shouldn't underestimate FC Midtjylland because they are really innovative, especially around the set pieces. So if there's one underdog who can surprise against 3 really, really, really good teams, then it could also be FC Midtjylland. So, but I think Liverpool are the favorites to take one of the 2 spots. So, but let's see what happens. In football, everything can happen.
And a lot of people tell me, including football media, broadcasters, and those who have a really deep knowledge of the game, they tell me that if you have someone like Thomas Grønnemark in your coaching team, coaching your players on how to crush, these are art and science of doing throw-ins. You have to watch out for them, especially if they landed in your group in a Champions League tournament. So all of them are a threat, and I really agree with you 100% that Atalanta is a team that everyone has to watch out for. I think they're top of Serie A at this moment, being high scoring as well in every matches that they play. Really great entertainers. So I recently saw on your LinkedIn feed, you're doing currently a lot of like 2 training day inspirational visits to clubs around the world, right? There are a lot of football clubs in Asia, especially I think China, that I think you should visit their club too, especially once air travel is reopened in this part of the world. With COVID cases nearing 0 in places like Singapore. Yeah, we have been 0 for a couple of days now, 0 cases. Japan and China, and like the business world, right, it seems that more likely all activities, including live sport with spectators, will flow back to Asia first. So how many times have you been to Asia?
I haven't really coached any clubs in Asia before. The only time I've been to Asia is I went on a training camp with Ajax in Qatar here in January 2020. So, but I haven't coached any clubs in Japan or China or Indonesia or anywhere in Asia. So I'm really open-minded about coaching clubs in Indonesia too. But I'm getting requests from all over the world. So it's both, can we sign a contract, but also can we travel because of the corona? So there are also interested clubs in South America, North America, and I've been traveling a lot in Europe here the last couple of months too. So again, I'm a freelance coach, and some teams think, oh, you have to sign a full season contract with Thomas. No, I do a lot of inspirational visits where I'm doing, for example, 2 or 3 training days, like inspirational, like the basic things, learning the clubs a lot. And then a lot of these clubs are signing for a longer contract later. So you don't have to sign me for a whole season. You can just invite me to an inspirational visit. So, I don't care where I travel in the world, just as long as the teams and the clubs and the players want to learn more about throw-ins. So I don't have to go to the gigantic clubs to be satisfied. If I can feel the passion from the clubs that they want to improve, I'm just passionate as well. So I just want to bring my knowledge out to the world. It doesn't matter who it is.
That's why our audiences are looking forward to your appearance on this podcast, because you're not just an innovator, you also have the humility, right? Not just to actually instill or to pass on all these knowledge and skills to big clubs, but also smaller clubs. So I think any club owners or even federations in Asia should take note of this. And of course, there are many ways to reach you. I believe one of the things that really inspired me or really greatly admire about you is that you have a great YouTube channel. I think we have to bring attention to this fantastic YouTube channel. It's where even if I'm a semi-pro footballer or professional footballer or just an amateur soccer player, I should actually, religiously follow your channel because you are giving out so many great throw-in philosophies and tips and advice on your channel. So maybe tell us more about this channel. I think the URL is right here below. And maybe tell us in terms of what you're trying to achieve with this channel. Is it one of your communication vehicle to reach out to more clubs around the world and to give back to your favorite sport?
Yeah, the reason why I have my YouTube channel is my primary goal is to change football so we have much better throw-ins. Of course, it's fantastic to win the Premier League and the Champions League, but it's really important for me to change football. So there is a lot of youth coaches, amateur coaches who are writing to me, oh, can't you help me? So first of all, I have my YouTube channel. I'm giving a lot of free advice there, but also a lot of explanation around what is for example, my long, fast and clever throw-in philosophy. I'm giving some advice. I'm giving some small drills. So I just want to change the football world so we can have better throw-ins. And it should not only be the professional clubs who gets my advice. So I'll try to give more and more advice. I also have some free throw-in coaching. I'm giving my 4 best free advice on how to create space in the near area that every coach can use, even U10, U12 coaches, amateur coaches, men's coaches, women coaches, no matter if it's pro or what it is, they can use that. So you can find that link on I think each of my YouTube videos too. So I think that I have to go, to create and give more than only to myself by achieving my goals. I have to. The biggest goal is that all people in the football world can achieve their goals, and we want to have more entertaining games. So I can only do that by sharing my knowledge. So I give everything I can.
I absolutely love how you want to change football throw-ins, with your long, fast, and clever throw-in philosophy. I'm a big fan of your YouTube channel, so it's really insightful. I urge, the Football Federation, even in Singapore where I'm based, to subscribe, right? And to check out all your videos right there. So how I wish, I'm still young and fit when I was playing football every Sunday. I would probably crush it when it comes to throw in and score even more goals as a striker, learning all the tips that are found in your channel. So maybe let's look next at Arsene Wenger. I think recently you posted something about Arsene Wenger on your LinkedIn. It's because I follow your LinkedIn page quite religiously as well. So we know that Arsene Wenger is a professor during the Arsenal days, right? Someone that the football world really respects and admire for, I think, creating the invincible Arsenal team 20 years ago, I think. So do you think that football will be less entertaining when he recently, suggested to have kick-ins replacing throw-ins instead? What's your hot take on that?
Yeah, first of all, I also really admire Arsene Wenger too, because he's a fantastic coach. He's been a fantastic coach now, and he's been doing so many great things to the football world. But you can't be an expert in everything. And he talked about replacing throw-ins with kick-ins instead. The challenge there is not so much that if we're not having throw-ins, that I'm not a throw-in coach. No, it's more because if we have kick-ins, the challenge is that we have less pressure situations. You can compare it with either kick-ins in futsal, no pressure on the first pass, but also like a short corner kick, no pressure because you have to be away. So we have less pressure situations, and pressure situations are really good to have in football because you have some energy, you have some like duels and everything. But if you have a pressure situation, you can also be able to create innovative space creation with the throw-ins like I do. And it's a little bit like in basketball where we're really working with space creation, and it's much more entertaining. So I fear if we once upon a time in the future get kick-ins, first of all, we'll have less pressure situations, but I also fear that we have just long kick-ins instead. So we'll see many more long balls just been shot with the feet. So I think that if you want to have kick-ins, it's because you won't really challenge a difficult situation in football like a throw-in is. But I think my solution is much better that we're starting to think about what can we do in these situations when we have a throw-in instead. the biggest challenge is that most football teams are just throwing the ball down the line. Then we'll just have a duel, and a duel in small boxes. And when we have that, it's not entertaining. It's a little bit like we played football in the 80s in England, so with a lot of long balls. And of course, we can have fight and everything. But if we want to develop football, the only right way is not to replace throw-ins with kick-ins, but it is to make innovative space creation with different throw-in movements. And that's what I'm learning my players. So I'm working with 3 zones on the pitch, having like 50 different throw-in tools, and the players can like use their own imagination and fantasy. So it's actually like millions of options the players have in the teams I'm working with. It's not like a playbook in American football. So if we go to kick-ins somehow in the future, you'll have a less entertaining football game, but also less pressure situations and less opportunity for innovative space creation. So my goal is to give so much knowledge to clubs and the football world in general that we can develop this space creation at throw-ins. So we don't need these kick-ins at all. So I think it would be a really bad idea to have kick-ins instead.
I absolutely agree. I think I 100%. I'm also backing up your view in terms of less pressure situations, less transitions, and more long balls is going to be boring, right? So you gotta love how Liverpool is playing the game right now because of all these things that they're doing so well, and opportunities been created right from throw-in. So this is good things that should be continued. And why change? Rather than getting teams to maybe work better at becoming more innovative in space creation.
Yeah.
So I really agree with you, and we are very thrilled, as a Liverpool fan, right, that you just renew your Liverpool contract. So, but we also know that as a freelancer, you're ready for other clubs as well. So that's why, 3 of our teams that you have coached, like Ajax as well, and Midtjylland, are all in the same group in the Champions League. So we are really, happy to have you continue to help Jurgen Klopp in crushing it in the Premier League and the Champions League. And we know that, you also do a lot of positive dialogues with clubs around the world and federations from other countries around Europe and even the USA, right? So what exactly is your aim? Is your aim going to be like training 4 to 6 top clubs a season on a freelance basis by visiting these clubs like 3 to 6 times a year in between the training sessions? Is that your goal at this moment?
Yeah, it's really hard to say what my goal, but right now it's to coach a lot of professional clubs. So that's my aim, like the next 1, 2, 3 years, to coach as many professional clubs as possible all around the world. And then my next goal in the future is to publish my book about throw-ins, because right now it's only the professional clubs who can like really go in deep into my philosophy. Of course, I'm giving some valuable knowledge on my YouTube channel. So, but to go really deep into it, that's only professional clubs. But when I'm publishing my book about throw-ins somehow in the future, or somewhere in the future, I'll be able to give also give a U14 coach in Singapore can buy the book or take an online course. A women's coach in Uruguay can buy the book. So my goal is in a few years to, of course, still coach professional clubs, but then just travel all around the world, having talks, making like live courses for football clubs, for organizations. So I dream about, traveling every week to a new country and inspire people and organizations. And again, like you said a little bit earlier, that I just also want to publish my book in like so many languages as possible around the world. So if you're living in Singapore, or if you're living in Mexico or Ghana, you have to be able to read that book about my throw-in philosophy in your own language. So it's not, because at the moment it's primarily people who can speak English who can get my knowledge on my YouTube channel. But my dream is to publish in every language. So yeah, give so much knowledge to so many people as possible.
That's segued very well into our next question. Tell us more about your first Danish book. I think it was a bestseller, right, in Denmark. I think you sold like nearly 3,000 copies in a day. That's like a bestseller in Denmark, and it's called if I can pronounce it correctly in Danish, it's called Doven Energy, which is translated as lazy energy, right?
Yeah.
And he has 7 lazy principles. So, of course, this is something that's really interesting to me personally, because I was a lazy person. I always use perfection as an excuse not to do things. So I became a really lazy person maybe during my teens. And I think this is where you come in. I think you are also a very inspirational figure, speaker as well, motivation speaker, right? So maybe in terms of like how your book is going to, help people even to change their philosophy or their mindset or their view of their life and career. Tell us more how you're going to achieve all these things by having this new book that is going to be translated in different languages to benefit people around the world. And are you looking and working on a second book right now? Tell us more about that.
Yeah, it was back in November 2015. I wrote this book, Lazy Energy, if we have to translate it in English. And it has the 7 lazy principles. And it was not because you have to be lazy, but it's because, a lot of people around the world, also in Denmark, are really, down with stress. In Denmark, we have approximately 250,000 people who are so influenced by stress that they can't go to work, and we only have 6 million people in Denmark approximately. So my 7 lazy principles in lazy energy was like a little bit provocating and using humor too, but we have to use them also in our companies to, first of all, reach more, but also, have a really good work-life balance. So, for example, the first lazy principle is called relax when you can. And it's because, if we have to do a good job in a company, or if you have your own company, you have to work like 7, 8, sometimes 10 hours or even more per day. And if you're not taking any good breaks in your workday, either alone or together with your co-workers, then you're getting burned out. Yeah, you can go full speed for 6 months or 1 year, but suddenly you don't have any more energy. So the first lazy principle is relax when you can. That's about getting filled up with energy every day and finding the best ways you can be filled up, because we have some personal things we can be filled up with, but also some things we can be filled up with energy together on at work. And for example, the second lazy principle is pull the others down in the couch. And it's not like you have to sit in the couch all day with your colleagues, but it means that we have to focus on social relations, because research have shown that it's actually not it's actually not the most skillful workers and the most ambitious workers who are doing the best jobs in a team. It's actually the teams where the work relations are the best. So the closer work relations you can have with people on your job, the better results you'll have, because you're trusting each other. And if you're trusting each other, then it's also much easier to ask, can you help me with this? Or you can say to your colleague, hey, I've read this article, can you use that in your team? So building relationships and putting each other down and pulling each other down in the couch is really important. And of course, I have 7 lazy principles. The 5th is also let the other do the work. And it sounds like you won't do anything, but let the others do the work is actually about getting help when you have a challenge. And in our society at the moment, it's really about, I have to be strong, I have to hold out, I have to know everything. But sometimes it's much easier to get help from a colleague. So can you put down a culture at your workplace where you're saying, hey, how can we share knowledge? How can we help each other? How can it be okay that we're helping each other? Because some people are too proud to get help, but the companies where people are helping each other the most, they share more knowledge. The more knowledge you share, the more success you'll have. So my lazy energy book and the 7 lazy principles are really much about how can you, first of all, really have success, achieve a lot, not only for yourself, but also together in a group or in a company. But it's also how can you have have a lot of energy, not only for 2 weeks, but your entire work life. So I've been making over 500 talks for companies about my lazy energy book, and of course I also want at one point to bring that out to the world too. So, but at the moment I'm concentrating on my throw-ins, my throw-in book in the future. But of course, if there are anyone here listening now who want to get inspiration from me about either my throw-ins or my lazy energy with the 7 lazy principles book in a talk, they're of course welcome to write to me or contact me, because I'm also, as you probably expect, I'm also talking in English too, and so yeah.
And I really urge our audience to check out your book. And maybe let's back it up and go back to when you first started, right? We all know that before anyone was successful in life, I think you're right now at the apex of your career, whereby 3 of your teams are in the same Champions League group and all contenders for the Champions League title. So let's back up to when you first started. How do you navigate the start of a career? How do you get started in this field in the first place? And we all know, that there is a long journey, and for every successful person, they have to go through trials and tribulations. Life and career is never just like this, right? It's always, ups and downs. So maybe tell us back when you were a kid, right? When was the moment when you realized that long throw-ins is going to be something that you'll be teaching or even coaching to top teams around Europe, 20, 30 years later?
Yeah, first of all, I've been playing football myself for, I think, 14, 15 years. And I was a good football player. I reached the highest U19 league in Denmark. Also played against, for example, a good player called Thomas Grønnemark, who later played for Celtic and Real Madrid. So I played against really good players, so I was pretty talented. But I wasn't good enough to be a professional player. But I had 2 really strong skills or superpowers. First of all, I was really fast. I've never been losing a running duel in football. And I was also good at throw-ins, because when I was a small kid, I had seen my bigger cousins do long throw-ins. So I tried to do the same as they did. And I was also good at throw-ins. But, in the mid-90s, I knew I couldn't be a professional football player. I wasn't good enough. So I went to athletics. And already the first year I was training, I came on the Danish national team in athletics, running 100, 200, 400 meters and relays. And I had 6 years on the Danish national team, being also several time Danish champion. Also in 2000, together with my relay team in Aarhus 1900, it's a club in Denmark. We won the European Championship in 4x400 meter relay in Paris. I ran the last leg. So it was pretty successful. But in 2002, I changed sport to bobsleighing. And from 2002 to 2006, I was on the Danish national bobsleigh team, traveling all around the world. It was fantastic. And it was in the middle of that bobsleigh period in 2004 where I thought, hey, if I can make a good throw-in myself when I was a football player, can't I teach other players to do it? So when I came back home from that bobsleigh trip, I went directly down to my local library to find that book about throw-ins. But there were no books at all, and nothing serious on the internet. So I used approximately 6 months to do a throwing course. And I was video taping and video analyzing myself. How can I hold on the ball? How can I make a good run in? Where should my hip be placed? And a lot of different things. And then in the fall 2004, I had a throwing course. And it could have been starting with a youth amateur team, because to be honest, I didn't know if it would work. But I had the courage to contact a local Superliga team called Viborg from Denmark, and they said yes, and they scored a lot of goals after throw-in situations, and improved a lot. So that was a real big success. And so the next 4 years, from 2004 to 2008, I was coaching the long throw-in and nothing else. And it was a great success. I also coached FC Midtjylland in the 2005-06 season. But then in 2008, I was watching one of my teams do long throw-ins at the video. And then suddenly I saw my team lose a throw-in after normal throw-in in the middle of the pitch. And I thought, hey, that was not good. And then they lost the next one and the next one. And then I thought, hey, that was really bad. And I thought it was only youth and amateur teams who were so bad at the throw-ins all around the pitch. So in 2008, I started working on my throw-in philosophy called the long, the fast, and the clever throw-in. And that's actually throw-ins all around the pitch. So I'm working on with the teams. How can we, first of all, keep possession on the throw-in, but also create chances and score goals. So I'm working with 3 zones on the pitch, 50 different throw-in tools, I'm also working with individual throw-in superpowers, so that we can use the strength of the players, and then the players are also using their own fantasy and creativity when we have to create solutions. So in fact, we have millions of options. So yes, I'm still working on the long throw-in with all players, because the longer throw-in you have, the greater throw-in area you have too. You can throw to more teammates. But all in all, I'm coaching everything you can imagine around the throw-ins. And what I'm using most time on is space creation. How can the outfield players create space so it's easier again to keep possession, great chance to score goals. So that's the way it started with my throwing coaching career. So and yeah, right now again traveling all around the world, inspiring teams and clubs and players.
That's a remarkable journey, and listening back to that story, right? It really, makes me feel inspired, especially because you were at a period of time where you were frustrated as well, right? You coached many pro clubs since 2004, but many people just wanted your knowledge around the long throw-ins, and it was not until Jurgen Klopp appeared in the picture. I think it was 2018, around the time when we qualified. No, we actually lost the Champions League final, right?
Yeah.
And he called you directly on the phone, and he asked you whether you would help Liverpool improve our throw-ins. And you said that, in fact, he said that throw-ins were our team's biggest weakness, right? And you immediately say yes. So maybe walk us through that moment when you actually said yes to him.
Yeah, it was. I was driving together with my family, have a wife and 2 kids, and we were visiting a chocolate shop. And I had closed down my telephone like I do sometimes when I have family time. And then I turned on my phone just to look, and there was a +44 number who had been calling. So I thought it was just like a guy who was selling pens from England or so. So I listened to the voicemail. And then it was Jurgen Klopp on the phone. I was totally, if I hadn't sit in the car seat, I was probably been tumbling over, because I always dreamed about coaching in the Premier League. So I tried to call Jurgen back, but he didn't answer. So I went into the chocolate shop with my wife and 2 kids. And when I came back, I thought, hey, might as well drive back to my home town and my own home to take perhaps the most important call ever in my life. So I was driving the car. My wife sitting beside me, the kids in the back, and then suddenly the phone rang, and my wife picked the phone up and she said, "It's Jurgen." And then I just took the car, drove directly to the right, directly into a grass field, and I picked up the phone. And it was Jurgen Klopp, and he said, "Yes, we had a fantastic season last season with a 4th place in the Premier League and a Champions League final, even though we lost it. But we were so bad at the throw-ins. We were losing the ball almost every time. So Jurgen Klopp invited me to Melwood the week after Liverpool's training ground. And it should only have been a meeting, but after the meeting, Jurgen Klopp was so convinced that I had the chance to coach 21 Premier League players already the day after the meeting. It was all the players who weren't injured or at vacation after the World Cup. So, and then the week after, I signed my first contract with Liverpool FC, and now it's my 3rd season with Liverpool FC. We have taken the throw-ins in Liverpool from number 18 in the Premier League with a possession on 45.4% to number 1 in the Premier League with a possession of 68.4%. So it's been a fantastic journey, but also being together with all the boys, with the staff, with the players, winning the Champions League, winning the Premier League after 30 years of waiting time. So, for me personally, it's been an adventure. It's like if I should have been riding this adventure, I couldn't even have the imagination to ride it, because there's been happening so many crazy things. So I'm just proud to have been able to help Liverpool FC. But I'm also proud happy for my own family too, because it means a lot for my family. So yeah, I just want to say thanks to all the people who have been helping me all the way from the first professional coach in Viborg, Ove Christensen, who said yes to hiring me, to Jurgen Klopp calling me, to my wife and my kids supporting me. So when we have to reach our goals, there are just so many people who are helping you. So that's also one of the reasons why it's so important to reach out to people. Don't be afraid of asking for help. It's not a weakness to ask for help. A lot of people think, hey, I'm not good enough, I'm not skilled enough if I'm asking for help. No, for me, the strongest people are the people who are asking for help. Of course, often we have to think about things ourselves, do things ourselves, but the strongest people, but also the strongest organization, strongest team, are the ones who are reaching out and saying, hey, this is hard. And you can say that Jurgen Klopp, he could also have been saying, hey, I'm one of the best coaches or managers in the world, I can do the throw-ins myself. No, he said to himself, we're not good at the throw-ins, even though we have a fantastic organization. Let's reach out for help. So that's the reason why he called me. So I can only say that to everybody. I do that myself too. If something's hard for me, I'm reaching out for help. That's one of the best things you can do, not only in work life, but in life in general. So I'm just happy being at Liverpool.
What a story, and what an adventure. And I think I could feel the emotions coming out of you as well when you're retelling stories like that. And I read on LinkedIn that it was an emotional day during your first day at Melwood, right? And it wasn't that long later on that your dad, I think, died a few weeks later after you started with Liverpool in Melwood. So tell us how much an influence was your dad on your career and your life? Did he always tell you as well that everything in life is possible and don't listen to the detractors, the negative people, or the naysayers?
Yeah, first of all, it was actually a few weeks before Jurgen called me that my father died, but it was really close. And my father had a lot of a big influence on my life. He was not like most fathers are, because if you see a lot of people who have success in sports, it's often fathers who are like really training them every day, like hard training, and of course that could be good. But for me, my father was he meant a lot to me because he was special. He was also very innovative. He for his whole life he didn't really have a work, and so he had a hard time in school when he was in school in the 50s, and at that time you were beaten up if you didn't do things properly. So he had a hard time in school, but he was very innovative. And I can remember one day as a kid, I think I was 8 or 10 years old. We didn't have many money in my home when I was raised up. But I can remember one day we had a couch, a 2-person's couch. We got that as a gift because my father had helped an old lady. But the challenge was that we couldn't really transport that couch because we didn't have a car, and of course we couldn't use a trailer then. So we probably wouldn't have been getting this couch. And we just had to use the old couch. But one day I was standing on the street and I could hear my father. He had like an old moped, like a small motorcycle. And then suddenly I could recognize his moped in the background. And then suddenly I saw far away my father was driving with his moped with a 2-person couch on the back of the moped. So there was just, I didn't know how he did it. But my father was a guy who found, special solutions to big challenges. So even though he never had like a big company, or my father didn't have, if you look at financially or at his work life, he didn't have big success. But he found innovative solutions to everyday challenges, and that's really a great inspiration for me, not only now but also as a child, also growing up. So I think that innovation is so important, and of course we can have big expensive innovation tools in companies. We can have like giant companies helping us by being more innovative. But often it's like the small everyday innovations and innovations that's happening between people who can really make a big change. So that's also what I think I've been showing in throw-ins, that you don't have to have big football education. I've never taken any football education, but I've been able to make, as I think myself, change the football world already now with my innovative approach to throw-ins. So my father was a big inspiration for me, and even though I know we are innovating a lot in the world right now, but we can innovate even more because there are so many ways and opportunities to innovate by helping each other, sharing knowledge, but also taking knowledge from other parts of the world, because if I've been a normal football coach, I've never been a throwing coach. So I've been taking knowledge from athletics, of course, my own football background, but also basketball. I've been playing a lot of street basketball myself, but also from athletics, from bobsleighing. I'm often also taking knowledge from things like art or music. And some might think, oh, how can you take inspiration from a picture? You know, sometimes if I look at a piece of art in a museum, I can see like, oh, there are some lines there in this painting that could be perhaps be like a movement pattern in to create space in football. Sometimes also like get inspiration from birds, because for example with awareness, if I'm going towards a group of birds, they're like really aware of what I'm doing, they're like aware of something and some other things. And awareness is also a big thing in when you have to do a throw in, either defending or attacking throw in. So we don't only need to take a inspiration from the normal things. You can get so much inspiration from everything around the world. It's just about knowing where to take it. So be open-minded.
This is absolutely fantastic. I love the fact that you brought in art and music as well. I think these are the things that inspire and set us apart from the robots, right? Because this is how we instill creativity in everything that we do. And you're innovating in this football arena because of how you actually recreate, reinforce, and introduce new ways of playing the game. So you're one of our favorite people ever, to come on to this show. And we love innovators like you. And of course, we also want to acknowledge that you're a world record holder, I think in the Guinness Book of Record for the longest throw-in, right? I think you actually achieved that feat in 2008. Tell us that particular journey. Was it a painful journey before you actually hit your target?
Yeah, first of all, my world record was set in 2010. And then it's also important for me to say that my world record was beaten in 2019 by a guy called Michael Lewis from the States. But I had the world record for almost 10 years. You can also see that on my YouTube channel. And you can also, it's made with a flip throw-in, where you're having a run-in, jumping down on the ball, making a flip, land, and then throw the ball. But the challenge was in 2008, I had been a throwing coach for 4 years, and I thought, hey, it could be really good to have the world's longest throw-in, because first of all, it would be a good challenge, but also because it was also be good for my throwing company. So I could, at that time in 2008, there was an official Guinness World Record of 48.17 set by Mike Lochner from the States in 1998. So it was 10 years old. I could throw approximately 42 with a normal throw-in, running. And that's really far, because if you can throw 35, that's really world class. But I also realized I wasn't good enough to beat the world record with a normal run-in. So one day on television, I saw a flip throw-in. I saw this little girl with the blue clothes on YouTube. She made a flip throw-in. I thought, hey, that looked cool. The only challenge was that I couldn't do even a small tumble. But again, I weighed approximately 100 kilos. I tried the next day, and I took a run in, made the flip, and then 2 days later, down at the physiotherapist, I thought I have to have some help, because I just landed directly on my back. So I got help from 3 different gymnast coaches. First, an old work colleague who did some gymnastics called Henrik. Then later, I got a really good gymnast coach from a local town called Johnny Østergaard. He helped me even more to make the flip without the ball. And then in the end, a couple of months later, I got help from the Danish national gymnast coach called Frank. He was a national gymnast coach for the women's team in Denmark. And I could train in a really gymnastics training center in the nearby town. So that's one of my best advices, to get help. If you get help, it's much easier to reach your target. But I had the chance to make an official world record attempt in 2008, the 20th of August, in a national match between Denmark and Spain. And it was a full stadium, and I had the whole stadium clapping together. I didn't beat the world record there through approximately 44. So it was still much better than before, but still 4 meters from the world record. I also raised approximately what was it? I think it was $15,000 or something like that for a fund called JDRF, who are really raising money to diabetes research. So, but that was pretty cool. I had a world record attempt more in 2009. It was in the match between Hertha Berlin and Wolfsburg. It was in the Olympic Stadium in Berlin, and 40,000 spectators. So, but sadly enough, I didn't beat the world record there because it was really raining a lot. So, but still, again, it was a great experience, and I was starting to throw 46, 47 meters in training, so all really close at the 48.17 meter official world record. But then in 2009, I heard over the internet that a guy called Danny Brooks from England had set a new official Guinness World Record with a throw of 49.78, and I was really frustrated because I was so close to the world record. So I thought about making a world record attempt at the Danish West Coast, where it's like almost storming every day, because that was legal enough. But I could also feel that it wasn't okay to beat the world record, this way. So I thought, hey, what is my biggest challenge? Where can I get some help to improve even more? I want to be innovative and see if I could get help in an untraditional way. My biggest challenge was to hold on the ball, because when you're sweating and exercising, you're always sweating your hands, and it's not really good to jump down on the ball if you have sweaty hands. So I thought, hey, why not get some help from some kids? So I contacted the biggest Danish television channel. It's called DR1. And I asked them, shouldn't we try to test what kind of sticky stuff that's best when you have to do a flip throw in? So I got live in the DR1 channel at a program called Summa Summarum. That's a program for kids. So I had some kids help me. I had 3 different footballs, and at one football we put sweets. On one football it was prunes, and one football it was licorice. And I took a standing throw in with each of these sticky stuff balls, and then at the end I took a flip throw in with the winner, and the winner was licorice, like this all sorts licorice you can get in England and other countries too. So since then I used the licorice every time I had to do a world record attempt, and it helped me a lot because I could suddenly hold on the ball, and then in the end when I let the ball go, it could also get off my hands again, because it wasn't sticking too much. So it meant I was really comfortable with doing the flip throw-ins. And then in the end, in 2010, June 2010, I set an official Guinness World Record of 51.33 meters. So again, you can see that on my YouTube channel. And it was, of course, fantastic for me. It meant a lot to beat the world record, and it's been meaning a lot also for my throwing company. And then, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, that my throwing world record was beat in 2019 by an American called Michael Lewis. And you might think that, oh, your world record was beating, and you're angry of him, Michael Lewis, to beat your world record. But actually, I was proud, because this throwing world record has been a present for me. It's been giving me so much in my life. So I just thought, hey, I just want to help Michael Lewis too. So this in July, I arranged a tryout for Michael Lewis. He's from USA. He's a young guy who's been playing college football. So I arranged a tryout for him, 14-day tryout in Denmark, at a third league club here in Denmark. And I also arranged a world record attempt for him in Denmark too, where he should try to beat his own world record. He was only 30 centimeters from his own world record. So he threw really, really far. So if you want to see both my world record, but also Michael Lewis, his visit to Denmark, his totally crazy flip throw in and his flip throw in, his new world record is, hold on, 59.81. So that's totally crazy. So if you want to see that after this live here, go to my YouTube channel. For me, it's perhaps the best world record in almost every sport. The way Michael can do his flip throwing is just totally crazy. You can see that. So again, I'll say that on one hand, it's really important to get help if you want to achieve your goals, no matter where you are in life or in work life. But it's also just so important to give help and help others with your knowledge. So again, I'll try to help Mike lose, even though he beat my world record, because I just want to give everything to people I meet. So, but again, it was fantastic to beat the world record myself. So I'm really proud about that.
It's a fantastic story that you just told. My hair are standing on its ends, just listening to how you achieved that feat and how your 9-year record, right, got beaten by somebody else who have actually, triumphed over a lot of adversities as well. I think you have actually gone through the same process. Since we're at a topic about best throw-in technique, longest and furthest throw, record-setting throws. So this is a question that's submitted from one of our podcast committee members, and also a Liverpool fan, by the way. So Shan is asking, who has the best throw-in technique in Liverpool Football Club, and who has the furthest throw right now in the team?
I'll say that's like two different things. I'll start with the furthest throw first. The guy who can throw furthest is Joe Gomez. He can throw, in a test, he's been throwing 37.20 meters. So that's approximately the penalty area, penalty spot in the air, or even longer. So we're not really using the long throw in Liverpool as a set piece weapon. But for example, he scored a goal or assisted a goal after a long throw in the national match, England against Croatia. Last time there was a Nations League. So Joe Gomez has a world-class long throw-in. But who has the best throw-in technique? I'm not really looking at the throw-in technique, but I'm looking at the throw-in in general. I'm looking both at who can throw long, who can throw precise, who can be able to see the space being created that we're working on. And I'll say not only the two best throwers in Liverpool, but also in the world are, for me, Robo, Andy Robertson, and also Trent Alexander-Arnold, because they're really improved a lot. So I think that they're the two best throw-in players if you're looking in general, and that's actually really lucky because we're using them a lot in matches with Liverpool. So, but when I'm looking at the best throw-in takers, it's in general I'm looking, but of course, if you want to use good throw-in takers, you have to create space too. So I'm working with all the players on the team, not only Liverpool, but also all my other clubs. So because if you want to create space, you have to involve every player on the team. They have to know what is really important to do when you have to create space, but they also have to know the different tools in the different parts of the pitch. So again, but yeah, both Robo, Trent, but also Joe Gomez are fantastic in each way. So yeah.
This is perfectly splendid. It's like a new discovery for us who are tuning in right now. And we don't just have the best left back and right back in the world. We have the best throw-in footballers as well. So, it's just such an effortless, show to do with you, because you're such a great communicator and conversationalist. How I wish you can just go on for the next 2-3 hours. Maybe we'll re-invite you back onto the show in the future. But, we have slightly overrun. I promise only 30 minutes. We are nearing over an hour soon.
Yeah.
Before we let you go, just squeeze in one last question submitted by one of our committee members. They would like to know, what is it like to work for a club like Liverpool Football Club? How do you find the city of Liverpool?
First of all, it's fantastic to work for Liverpool FC. Of course, both because it's like a high-performance team winning Champions League, Premier League, but also because people are so kind. I'm just so happy every time I go into Melwood or take on a training camp with Liverpool, because people are friendly. People are really, they really want to help each other, share knowledge, but people are also really open-minded. So it's just fantastic to work with Liverpool FC. I love it every time I come there. And then if I have to go to Liverpool, the city of Liverpool, it's fantastic. A lot of people think it's only Liverpool is only about Liverpool FC and the Beatles and nothing else. But there are so many great, fantastic things to see in Liverpool. There are not many people who know it, but Liverpool actually have the second most like old buildings in UK after London. So there are so many great things to see. There are so many great museums. We have the big cathedral. We have the docks. We have the Mersey River. And it's not only if you are like an adult and if you're interested in football and pubs. And so I've been taking my kids both. I had a trip with my son alone and had a trip with my daughter alone. And even though my daughter is not interested in football, we had a fantastic trip, seeing so many great things. So no matter if you're interested in football, you're a Liverpool fan or what you are, I'll recommend you to visit Liverpool. It's just a fantastic city. And every time I'm in Liverpool, every day I'm walking in the city 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 or 6 hours, seeing a lot of things, even though I've been there so many times now, because it's filling me up with energy. So like 100% recommendation to the city of Liverpool. If you haven't been there, go there. I know right now it's a little special with the corona, but as soon as the corona is like going down or perhaps going away in the future, visit Liverpool. I can't recommend it enough. It's a fantastic city.
This is absolutely brilliant. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. Those riveting stories of yours, I could listen to those stories all day long. So you give us so much insight, your philosophy, your communication skills, and your incredible YouTube channel, especially your humility as well. I think that really touched me on a personal level. I think no club is too big or small for you, right? So to our audiences who are tuning in Asia and around the world, who think that Thomas should inspire and educate either the coaches or even players in your football club or even in your brand or your business or your companies, with your teachings and your motivational knowledge as well. There's so many ways to reach you, but I think the best way to reach you, if I'm not wrong, it's your website, right? Is this the right URL to reach you?
Gronnemark.com. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, that's perfect.
So thank you again. And ladies and gentlemen, Thomas Grønnemark, and make sure that you contact him. You want to keep possession as score goes, right? After 40 or 60 throw-ins per match. So check out his website. Thank you so much again, Thomas. You have a great evening.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, Wayne. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So that was Thomas Grønnemark. And to listen to more episodes, subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Just simply search CMO Asia Podcast and you'll find us easily, all right? And once you're subscribed, you'll be able to get new episodes on your smartphone, on your tablets, or your computers as soon as we publish them. So please don't forget to submit your reviews and your comments. It means a lot to me, and highly appreciate for your presence and for tuning in. So see you at our next podcast live stream tomorrow. I think we have 2 or 3 more guests coming on. So I'm on a momentum right now. I've done 2 today. I'm going to do like 2 or 3 more, and perhaps next week we also have people from ESPN and Google coming onto the podcast. So stay tuned. I'm going to update that CMO Asia podcast poster, so you have a view of the lineup and who you expect to come on the podcast soon. So till next time, see you guys. Wayne Cheong checking out. Cheers.